Welcome to Takeover, the most underrated sports debate show on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe, and definitely make sure you go check out our last video. We were out of studio and did a lot of cool things, but we're finally back in studio. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Whoa! I have to cut you off. As we know, your name is Josh, and as we should have known, your birthday was a couple of weeks ago. And it's not like we forgot or anything like that, but we want to give you a gift from Takeover. See, I'm struggling with my mic. It's all right.
This is from you too?
Aww. From both of us.
I appreciate
and
it,
we're
guys.
Hold on.
If only he had thought about that before he plugged all his equipment in. Oh, well.
And we want you to open it on camera for sure.
Right.
So go ahead and show the people at Takeover what we got for you.
I'm not even looking out. Oh, no. Aww. Oh, guys. Look at that, guys. I got a customized Hawks jersey now with my number and everything. Y'all are the best. I appreciate it so much. Give me some dab, y'all. Y'all are the best. Y'all might make me cry on air. Okay, we're just gonna... No, we can't do that. Okay, we'll wear that next episode. So Cam kind of already stole my thunder on this one, but as you know, my name is Josh.
My name is Deandra.
My name is Cam, and this is Takeover.
Yeah, we play it all in night. Yeah, need it all in advance. The opposition know we're ready for it. Like a supper we eating, it won't be the last. Grind out the muscle, pull up. Poker right on the grass. We coming in, take over everything, run it up. Not that holding me back. 3 in the wood, rushing.
All right, so guys, as you know, hashtag Season Chaos has continued with #1 ranked Alabama being taken down by unranked Texas A&M on last Saturday, 41-38. The Tide are now 5th in the AP poll. We don't have the college football playoff polls out yet, but in the AP poll, they're 5th. Do you guys think the Tide can still make the playoffs after this setback?
I almost cried real tears during this game. Real tears. So I've seen stuff like this happen before. And so before I answer that question, I'm going to go on to what actually happened in that game. And I think it's 3 culprits to why the Tide lost. I'm going to give 80% of this blame to Bill O'Brien. We've seen that he can't coach in the NFL, and obviously he can't be offensive coordinator. Brian Robinson in this game ran for 147 yards, and although Bryce Young threw for 360 yards, it felt like the backbone of this offense, what kept it moving, was Brian Robinson. And it kind of reminded me of old Alabama football. But when we were in the red zone twice, one time Bryce Young ended up throwing an interception on the 2-yard line. The second time, they settled for 3. In both of those situations, Brian Robinson only got the ball 1 time. And I kept asking myself, why? Why are we getting so cute at this point of the field? And it just kept on happening. And so I really was questioning, how good is Bill O'Brien there? Second is the offensive line. I told you guys 3 weeks ago when everyone was like, Cam, you're overreacting. Josh was talking about how many yachts we have. This offensive line has become shaky. When a Mercer player touches the Alabama quarterback, I get worried. Automatically. No disrespect to Mercer, but they shouldn't be touching Bryce Young. And they did. And Texas A&M definitely got after Bryce Young a lot too. And third is, I'm going to go with the refs. Having Malachi Moore be ejected so early in the game for what they call targeting was really crazy to me. Where's going to be the threshold for aggressiveness on defense? I think sooner or later we're going to have to make it where you can't hit the quarterback. Because, at this point in time, I don't know what targeting is. I don't know what being aggressive on football or on defense is anymore. But to answer your question, Josh, will the Tide make the playoffs? Of course. Of course, because they're first in the SEC West because they beat Ole Miss. And the two teams left that I feel like could give them trouble, LSU and Auburn, I don't believe they'll be able to beat them. And so it looks like we're going to have a crash course of Georgia and Alabama. And last time I checked, the University of Georgia plays in the state of Georgia. And I have this weird rule when it comes to sports. If any team plays in area codes of 404 and 770, they're probably going to fold when the money's on the line. So I think Alabama will be able to make it to the SEC championship game and beat Georgia.
I believe that Alabama will make it to the playoffs, but I feel like even though Texas A&M was an unranked team, I believe they still have talent on their team. You know, they've been recruiting for a while to beat a team like Alabama, and if I remember correctly, back when the preseason rankings were taking place, Texas A&M was top 10. And, you know, they ran into some issues with injuries and things of that nature, but everything just came together for them on Saturday. So with all of this taking everything out of proportion and just saying that, like, you know, Alabama lost to an unranked team. They did, but Texas A&M isn't an ordinary unranked team. So, like you said about the rest of you guys' schedule, I think you guys are going to win the rest of your games. I believe they will be in the SEC championship, and that's where basically your most of your concern is going to come from, because you're most likely going to be playing Georgia, of course. But there is no scenario where Alabama wins the SEC championship and doesn't make it into the college football playoffs. So one thing that I noticed that a lot of Alabama fans do, I'm not saying you do this in particular, but a lot of things that you guys do is you guys look at the past Alabama teams and you compare it to the one now, which is fair. But at the same time, those teams aren't the teams you're going to be playing. You're going to be playing teams like 2021 Georgia and Ohio State and Oklahoma, whoever may be in the college football playoffs. But just like how Alabama may look not as invincible as they looked prior, that's the same thing for Georgia. Even though Georgia looks great right now, do I think that they're invincible? No. I believe they can be beat. I believe anybody can be beat at any time. Whether it be an unranked team or a ranked team, if a team plays like a top 10 team in the nation, they can beat anybody. So yes, I believe that Alabama will be in the playoffs.
It would confuse me with a Georgia supporter or a Georgia sympathizer. But to call them not looking invincible right now, I think you might be selling them short. That defense
no team is invincible, though. That's what I'm saying.
Scary. They're not even at full strength. They're starting the mailman at quarterback, the walk-on. They don't even have the 5-star.
Keep that position, though.
I don't know. JT Daniels looked good when he's healthy. The problem is he's never healthy. Anyway, moving on to the actual topic that we're talking about today, Alabama Crimson Tide. Will they make it back? I hate to make it, 3 in a row, but yeah, they probably will, because you got to take into a lot of things into consideration. First of all, as y'all covered, if they win the SEC championship, they're guaranteed it, because the SEC is widely considered the best conference in football, and if they beat UGA, who's the current #1 team, I don't see how you have an argument where there's 4 other teams better than them. Even if they lose the SEC championship, there's a scenario where they make it in, for the simple fact of the only teams ahead of them right now, because they only dropped down to 5, so they're still right there. If Iowa loses, if Cincinnati loses, if Oklahoma loses, if either of those 3 teams lose, Alabama's the next one up. And even if Alabama loses in the SEC championship game, we've seen there's precedents here before. If they lose in the SEC championship game, they'll probably still make it. I would bet my entire student debt, or however much I pay per year in college, or however much, whatever, you get that. I'd put a whole ton of money on the College Football Playoff Committee taking a 2-loss Alabama SEC runner-up over a 1-loss Oregon Pac-12 champion, or a 1-loss Oklahoma Big 12 champion. Maybe if Michigan continues to dominate, maybe I can understand if they put but they would have to beat Iowa first.
That's true, too.
So, and again, who knows there? We'll see, because in the end, Iowa's offense is still kind of, we don't really know.
Yeah.
So there's 2 different ways, and again, it's Alabama. I mean, the College Football Playoff Committee is really going to do what's best for business, and what's best for business is putting the biggest dynasty and the most well-known college football program in the world in the college football playoff.
And I'll say this to end this subject off. Alabama fans, be mindful. In the Saban era, they've only gone undefeated and won the championship twice. All the rest of those times, there was a bump in the road.
Oh yeah, R.I.P. the streak.
Yeah, the streak.
Shout out Jimbo.
Yeah,
he the man.
For sure. Moving on to the
statue.
NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs have gotten off to a slow start as they're last in the AFC West, and their current record is 2-3. Guys, is it time to press the panic button on KC?
I think it depends when you talk about panic, because I think when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, they're put on a different level than I would say other NFL teams. But I believe we should be concerned because they need help on both sides of the ball, to be honest. You look at their defense is very bad. It's atrocious. You can look at the offense and tell that the offense has a lot of pressure on them because the defense is so bad. And when you look at the offense, we know what it's capable of, but there's been drop passes, there have been turnovers, there have been fumbles. But I believe in the offense, and Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce. I believe they will fix those errors as we go along in the season. However, although we know about the greatness of the offense and what they're capable of, I think it is a very dangerous mindset to have that we're just going to put all our money on Patrick Mahomes and this offense and just put our money on them to bail us out every single time, because when you look at all the other teams in the NFL, when you look at a balanced team that has a good offense and good defense and a good quarterback that can make plays, it means trouble for you. So I believe they're going to make the playoffs. I don't believe that they'll be in the 1 or 2 spot. I believe that they'll be lower. But I just think there are other teams better than them right now. Like you look at the Browns, Buffalo, and even the Ravens with all of the injuries they had. But Lamar's just playing lights out right now. So I believe we should be concerned about Kansas City right now.
Oh, I'm going way past concerned. I am pressing the panic button. I'm selling any and all shares that I currently owned in the Kansas City Chiefs. This is panic mode right now because this team can no longer do what it did that got them to the Super Bowl, and that is rely on the otherworldly talent of Patrick Mahomes. As D'Angelo was talking about, they used to rely on it, but they also had solid, support around him. He had a good enough offensive line. They had enough of a run game to where they could get down. Realistically, the Super Bowl MVP, when they did win it, was Damian Williams because he had a great day out of the backfield, both catching the ball and running the ball. But now it's gotten down to the point where the offense is really just Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and if they're not open, they're going to be if Patrick throws it up. So we're really starting to see how losing Sammy Watkins, which I never thought I'd say, is actively impacting this team and really making it hurt, on top of the fact that Clyde Edwards-Helaire continues to struggle to be anything more than a replacement-level running back. But that's not even the biggest concern for this team. This defense is... I don't have any words to describe the putridity of watching this team attempt to play defense on the football. All right, they rank 32nd in the NFL in points given up and 31st in yards. I know I'm the stat guy. You're probably not going to hear all these numbers, but I think this is how you really, truly paint a picture of just how bad this defense is. They only have 7 sacks as a team. They only have 19 quarterback hits. The NFL leader in sacks right now is the Chicago Bears with 18. So the Bears have gotten almost as many sacks as the Chiefs have had hits on the quarterback. They've only had 3 interceptions, and 2 of them go to Tyrann Mathieu, who's like the only guy on that side actively playing up to his money. You look at the defensive line; they're 27th in pass rush win I can't speak English today. Pass rush win rate. Okay. Chris Jones is having a down year. Frank Clark doesn't exist anymore, and yet he's collecting $20 million paychecks. And then you look at the secondary; it's even worse. Outside of Tyrann Mathieu, everybody, and maybe Juan Thornhill to an extent, L'Jarius Sneed's given up a 145 passer rating when targeted. Javarius Ward, 111.6. Rashad Fenton, 103.8. Mike Hughes, 109.5. Daniel Sorensen, 158.3. I don't know why he is getting snapped, but if you, in coverage as a safety, are giving up a perfect passer rating, I don't know how you have a job in the NFL. In all honesty, move to linebacker, gain some weight, become a defensive lineman. I don't think you have a spot back there anymore, Daniel. So yes, I am panicking. I do not think that they are going to make the AFC championship. They might not even make the playoffs this year because their division has some hitters in there. The Los Angeles Chargers look scary over there, and the Raiders did look good until the entire organization decided to crumple in the span of 3 days.
Right.
But what are you gonna do?
Josh, you said all of these stats, all of these great things from both of you, but come January, when we asked other teams in the AFC who wants to play the Chiefs, I bet no one raises their hands. Still, to this day, as bad as their defense has always been bad. And D'Angelo talks about you shouldn't want Patrick Mahomes to bail you out. This is the same team who was down 24-0 in a division playoff game and scored 28 unanswered points the second quarter. I mean, this is their identity. Maybe it's worse than before, and it's definitely being implemented in a terrible way because, their defense is probably one of the worst I've ever seen. But they still have the tandem. They still have the best quarterback, the best player in the league in Patrick Mahomes right now. They have the most unguardable receiver right now. I don't think anyone can still check Kelce. So as bad as this team was, of course, I don't think they're going to be a number 1 seed or maybe even go to the Super Bowl this year, which I didn't pick them to do. But I feel like this is still a teams are going to worry about, and they'll still be in the mix. Good defense, bad defense or, good defense. I still think the Chiefs are going to be a problem just because 15's in the backfield.
You can be worried about the offense, but the whole idea of they don't want to play them, I'd love to play this team. Are you kidding me? This defense is terrible. I can just pick on Daniel Sorensen.
You would want to play Kansas City in the first round.
Yeah, because even if I give up 35, I can score 42.
So you're saying you're willing to say that your team can outscore them on any night?
With this defense, yeah, I get 1 stop and I win.
I don't believe so, bro.
I think so. It's bold of you to assume they're making the playoffs. They can't stop anybody right now. You have to get stops to win football games.
They've won football games.
They're 2-3 right now, Cam.
We'll see.
Whole formula ain't working.
I'm telling you. All right. That is going to end our episode for today. Do you guys have anything to say?
Tune in to the Major League playoffs because there's a certain Cinderella team out there making a run in the National League, and no matter who they face, I guarantee you right now they're going to give them a fight because everything has gone wrong for this squad, from losing a player to an injury to one of them beating his wife and breaking his hand to somebody getting COVID 2 hours before the game to somebody re-tearing their Achilles walking into the stadium. They still made the playoffs and they still beat World Series favorites in 4 games. Shout out the Atlanta Braves. Freddie Freeman is my guy.
Like, comment, subscribe, send in your takes. You know, the usual stuff.
All right, guys, gonna wrap it up from us. Takeover out.
Hey, champ. Yeah, we played all the night. Yeah, need it all in advance. The opposition know we're ready for it. Like a supper we eating, it won't be the last. Grind out the muscle, pull up. Park it right on the grass. We coming in, take over everything, run it up. Nothing holding me back. 3 in the wood, rushing. I don't like Dutch, don't even matter, you know I'm a facing. When I roll a paper, I like to go double. Run up a check, flip a W, make it an M. I need